Welcome to the first episode of By the Wayside. On today's episode, the very first episode, we have owner-operator of Wayside Comics and Cocktails, Omar Sayer. He's walking around in the background. He's way over there somewhere. And of course, sorry, the lady that walking by distracted me. And I talk about the Creator Spotlight series that happens and has happened here at Wayside Comics and Cocktails. Don't go anywhere. I hope you liked that opening. It's like 10 seconds long. Anything longer, just turn it off. If I ever come across an opening that is longer than 15 seconds, I'll give it 15 seconds. I'm just turning it off. It's already wasting my time. And I just called out like every like TV show. Remember Family Ties? It's like a song. It's like a song length. Anyway, we're filming, taping, making this show here on Main Street in Newmarket, Ontario. I am in Wayside Comics and Cocktails, and a little later on, like I had said, Omar's going to be on the show. He's going to be telling us about the comic shop with a bar. There's a bar way back there. Omar's over there too, just walking around the back. It's like a Where's Waldo of owner-operator, Wayside Comics and Cocktails, LLC. Are LLCs Canadian? Omar says it can. Limited liability. Okay, there you go. I don't know. I'm not a small business owner. I don't know. So I get to sit in this little nook here and I get to see every single person walking by. It's not very good for a person with ADHD because I get easily distracted. No flashing lights though. So if there's a flashing light, then we're in serious trouble. So what is the show, By the Wayside? You got to see the title card, By the Wayside. By the Wayside is a show where my mission statement is to introduce to you creative people, not necessarily here locally, but globally. I want to have people sitting here beside me. Maybe we'll do some Zoom calls / FaceTime / like an internet call. What's another an internet call? Yeah, I guess an internet call is fine. But that's what the goal of this show is to introduce you to creative people. We're talking comic book artists, general visual artists, maybe some actors, some writers, musicians. I should get some musicians on this show. I don't know how the heck I'm going to pull that off. Musicians, maybe we'll get some community leaders, get some mayors. I don't know. How many mayors do you think I can get on this show? Ask them what their favorite comic book character is. That's a fun one. That really throws them off. So am I qualified enough to host this show? I'm just some guy that came out of nowhere. One of the things that I realized is that my signature beard, just recently I took off my signature beard and you're stuck with the mustache. This guy, it's not an audience participation show, Omar. This guy back here. I took it off for reasons. I don't know. So you're going to see some if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, or if you follow the show on Instagram, you're going to see I got a beard. I don't know why I took it off. It'll come back. Right now, you get a nice, fresh summer look of the guy with the mustache. If you stumbled across me with a mustache, I'm not weird, but yeah, I guess so. So a little bit about me while we're doing the show here. I have at least 5 years of television hosting. I've done some local shows. I was able to host a live lifestyle show. I did a 1 minute What's Happening or like a events show. And I've hosted some Sutton Santa Claus. I might as well just say the town I did. The Sutton Santa Claus Parade. I've done that for almost 7 years, I think. So I have some experience hosting. Of course, I stop mid-sentence like I don't have any experience hosting. That's what the show is. That's who I am. Jordan Middlebrook, your host of this show, By the Wayside. So that's the end of this segment. So what I'm going to do is right after this, I'm going to try and throw an ad in if I can. Right after this, we're going to be talking with the owner of Wayside Comics and Cocktails. So, sorry, Omar. Wayside Comics and Cocktails. He's going to be sitting right here. We're going to be talking with him, so stick around. Okay. Welcome back to By the Wayside, the show that I'm hosting, of course. And one of the really cool things about the show is that it is filmed on location. Made. There's no film involved. It's made here on location at Wayside Comics and Cocktails, and we are lucky enough to have the owner of Wayside Comics and Cocktails, owner / bar manager / janitor,
Yeah,
I don't
mean,
know. Okay, I was like, oh, should I have said that?
It's appropriate.
Omar Sayer, Omar, thank you very much for sitting with us today.
No, thank you for having me.
It's important that you're our first guest
Wow.
because we're doing it in your shop, your store, your bar, which we will get to. So let's just ask the first question. I know that everyone wants to know, why a bar? No, why a comic book shop?
Why a comic book shop?
Yeah.
Many reasons, I guess. The first one was it kind of happened by mistake.
Okay.
We were operating as a little bar behind us, and when we were doing that, all the comic shops in our area closed down, and that was kind of my home away from home, my little distraction on the street, and it really bummed me out for about 8 months. I had nowhere to go, and one day I just looked at my regulars and I said, "We're going to put comics in here. We're going to make it work." And as it turns out, most of my regulars are big geeks, so they were all for it. And yeah, I mean, that was the thing. It was trying to reconcile a comic book store and a bar, and then it just kind of all clicked and made sense. It's like, what do you want? Or I remember what a comic shop was to me as a kid, and then I know what I'm 38. I still love comics, and what would I want a shop to be? And I like beer, I like cocktails, I like comic books, and I like the conversations that happen in bars. So it's like you kind of fuse them together, and you get this little bit of a hot pot of beautiful pop culture goodness.
Yeah, no, so it's interesting. You take something that you really love and you infuse something that keeps people in the same spot. So it's unlike a library.
Yes.
But if a library had a bar in it. So
and you could talk.
I guess that's true.
You could talk.
Imagine you had a librarian and Wolverine.
I mean, that was really good. We could hire you as our official shusher.
Just you can't afford my shushing. Has the bar changed the way people look at comic books? I know you love comic books. Your clients and regulars love comic books, hence the comic book shop. The bar has been put in to stimulate even more of an environment in a community where people can have conversations about pop culture. Right. Have you found that with the bar, more people have become engaged in that here?
Yeah, I definitely think they have. So the best part about the way we do things is, and that's why I always make the distinction, we're a comic store with a little bar in it. The bar part of what we do is all about creating community. It's about being able to, maybe sometimes your friends aren't geeky people. They don't like the stuff that you like. You can come here, you can look at things that you really enjoy, sit down, have a drink, but you can also talk to somebody here about those things. I mean, as soon as you walk through that door, we're all on the even playing field. Like, we're all geeks. We all geek out about something. And even if you're not, like, I love the space, because the number one thing that happens here is someone will come in who loves comics and their partner doesn't, and they'll come in and look, and their partner gets to sit down and they get to have a conversation with us, enjoy a cocktail, and let the other person just enjoy what they love without not feeling rushed or anything like that, but they get to enjoy the space as well. Yeah. A lot of times, especially if you're with somebody or with friends, you go somewhere and you just, I don't really want to be here. And that's kind of palpable sometimes, but when they come here, that we can lose that. That part of it gets eliminated. So they get to enjoy the same experience that the other person's enjoying as well in a different way. So it really does make a very, not just a neutral zone for everybody, but a place where everyone feels included. And that's a big thing for me, is a place where everybody feels included. Anybody who walks through my doors, I never want them. I like when people feel seen. Like, I will remember your drinks. I will remember the kind of stuff you like. It's all about building those relationships, especially in this kind of thing. A lot of people gravitate towards some of this pop culture stuff, these books, these comics, these characters, because they feel a little out of sorts, out of place rather. And I want to build on it. I want to give them that place to go to feel like they have a place. And every time someone comes in and they feel like they're a part of it and they can sit down, they can enjoy the events, whether it's video game night or bad movie nights, or just feel like they can have a conversation with me at the bar, I think that's a beautiful thing.
So we're talking about the comic book shop. We're talking about the comic book shop with the bar in it. There's something exciting that you were doing over February and you're going to continue doing in the future.
Correct.
Is the Creator Spotlight series. Can you tell me a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, 100%. So when we moved into this location, we've been here for about a month now in this bigger spot. One of the things that we wanted to do was kind of celebrate our love of comics and celebrate the fact that we have a bigger space where we could do the things that we weren't able to. So I'm a big supporter of independent creators and anybody doing something creative. And the wealth of talent that we have in Canada is a very palpable thing. So I really wanted to highlight that and bring creators into the shop for the month of February. So every Saturday from 11 to 4, we had at least 4 or 5 creators in the shop, being able to sell their books, pitch their books, just get new eyes on their projects. And the difference between doing it at a smaller shop like us and something like at a Comic-Con is that people who walk in, they don't have 1,000 options to like go take a look at, and you're like in a one-track mind, like I want to see the artist that I'm here for.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna stop and they're gonna ask questions and they're gonna engage because it's a curiosity. So to put more eyes on what people are doing out there, that's what we wanted to encourage, and that's what we wanted to do. You know, we wanted to make sure that everyone came out of this not just, you know, having a good time, but also letting more people experience their work. And then, you know, by proxy, we pick up their work, you know, as every Saturday, and we filled our spinner rack with their stuff. So even if you missed it, you can still get something from those creators.
You had talked about the level playing field of people coming in, so that it's a you know, it's a neutral space for everyone to enjoy. I will talk about it in the next segment, but one of the really cool things about me being here was I got to see, as an outsider, all the people coming in not really understanding. You know, they step in the door and they go, oh dang, this person's making books. They go, oh dang, this person has some artwork here, and it's a really cool way of leveling that playing field. You know, so like a family comes in, and the one child doesn't want to be here, but the mom is just like, oh, like check this out. So you really open your eye. It allowed the eyes of the people coming in the door to do exactly what you set out to do. And I was lucky enough to be that fly on the wall to see everything that happened. And it's really, really exciting, because when we're talking about the Creator Spotlight series, and you talked about allowing creatives to, you're allowing the world to see the creatives, want more people, more eyes on these people, and you're allowing me, a creative, to do this show here. And really, I can't thank you enough for it, because it's something that I've always wanted to do, something really exciting. I just get the opportunity to come, you know, is more than they got to be here, and it's really exciting to do.
But that's also part of what we do. Like, one of the things we have the space to do now, and we've always wanted to be it, is we want to be that creative hub for people, a place where you feel comfortable coming in to draw, coming in to write, work on your books, work on your projects, be surrounded by things that you like, but also, again, have that outlet to be able to produce that kind of stuff. So if people approach me and they want to like either be part of a show or display or do something, I'm very receptive to that, because I want to encourage the community. The community's been so kind to me, and they've been so welcoming, that I just want to do my part in giving back, because I love this medium so much. I really just want to share it with everybody, and I want to, as much as I can, if I can be part of somebody's journey to get them to that like next step, or get that one set of eyes on them, or a couple more readers, like that's what I get my fulfillment from, and that's what I feed off as a shop owner and a person who loves comics.
Well, I'll tell you, in all the times that we've been together and all the events that I've been to here at Wayside Comics and Cocktails in Newmarket, Ontario, I'll tell you, you're doing an excellent job, and people love you. All the people I talk to outside of, you know, boring old me, they always say, Omar's the best, and I can attest to that. Omar, thank you for being on the first episode of my show.
No, thank you for having me.
By the Wayside. And when I come back, you get out of here. When I come back, no, you stay right here for now. When I come back, I'm going to be talking about the Creator Spotlight series, and I have a few interviews that you get to see. So don't go anywhere. I like saying that. Don't go anywhere.
Good song.
This guy. Welcome back. Second segment of the show, By the Wayside. I'm your host, Jordan Middlebrook. Where's Waldo of Small Business Owners, Omar, who was just on the show. You just got to see him. I'm here at Wayside Comics and Cocktails in Newmarket, Ontario. And what Omar had said in the last segment, he had the Creator Spotlight series over February, and he's going to continue doing more in the future. I was lucky enough to be at many of those events, and I was lucky enough to speak to like 98% of the creators that were there. And they were nice enough to answer some questions that I had. So I've got a few that you're going to listen to, so stick around. Let's listen to that. Let's see who I talked to. I don't know. Let's figure it out. Howard, you've had a lot of success by being a part of or incorporating your own creative ideas into multiple pop culture IPs, worlds, and universes. Is there one IP that you would really like to tackle?
Wow, that's first. I'm a really small fish, you know. I got to enjoy to be working with a lot of amazing teams and people who were gracious enough to invite me to be part of their world and universe to help embellish and grow it. as to what IP I would like to tackle that's not my own. It would be it's an old school thing from the 70s, giant anime mecha, Guy King. Because I grew up watching that here in Toronto, way back in the day, in Globo Channel 3 back in the day. Did not realize what anime was until years and years later, and I started finding out about it. And that literally was my gateway to anime and manga and all that from that show. So that's one of those things I want to touch and play with, to be honest. It's a really weird IP to touch. I would love to do it. Anyone out there who has the rights to it, seriously, I will go to town and pull every stop because I have too many ideas for it. Which, technically speaking, I use some for Full Metal Ghost, which is a project between 3-0 and Bandai. It was Kuno-san's pet project. Kuno-san was the guy who is the mech designer for Gundam, Mobile Suit all the way until current, and a bunch of other things. Google him. It was freaking me out when I found out it was his project, so I used some of my ideas for that to do that. So if you like any of that, you can imagine it when it was full blown. So
One of my favorite things is when I watch a movie or a cartoon or read a book or whatever, and I like creating alternate theories, or when you take characters and you stick them into different universes. Like Batman is actually in the Ace Ventura universe. I know that is the dumbest idea that anyone could ever come up with.
Someone's gonna steal it. Mark my words.
Well, then I'm going to try and find a way to get an NDA on that, so I'm going to take it off the internet, and now no one will ever know. John, your latest work, Scab.
Cheers.
Fun, adventure, excitement. What's it inspired by?
Classic sword and sorcery fantasy stories that I grew up with. My favorite books are Lord of the Rings. So there's a little bit of everything in there.
So circling back to Lord of the Rings, you've seen the movies, obviously?
Best movies ever made, probably.
That's not true. Fred Kennedy, your latest work, Dead Romans, it deals a lot with soldiers, and it deals a lot with armies and orders. Okay?
Orders.
Yeah, from the higher ups down to the lower lows.
Yeah.
Your background as a service person's child. Now, your IMDb page says Base Brat.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to call you a Base Brat from now on.
Yeah.
Do you feel that your upbringing or your childhood influenced your work in any way?
100%, because my dad would always watch documentaries about historical military stuff, and I would just soak it in like a stinky little sponge. So 100%, yes.
I know that's only a select few of people that were at the Creator Spotlight series. I have plenty more interviews, and we will get to that as this show, By the Wayside, continues. Stick around. I say stick around a lot on this episode. I'm going to work on it. I got my notes here. I'm going to get a pen. I'm going to write down. Jordan, you got to change when we go to commercial or an ad or just a break in the show. Don't go anywhere. I have a closing part of this show. Ah, damn it. Stick around. Okay. I've gone through my notes, and that's a show. We did the first episode of By the Wayside, this show that you're watching right now. I'm your host, Jordan Middlebrook. We did the entire thing here at Wayside Comics and Cocktails in Newmarket, Ontario, and I can't thank Omar enough for letting me do it here. I also have to thank my mom. I'm not going to tell you why. I have to thank my sister because of last week, but I'm not going to. You have to figure that one out by yourself. If you want to be a guest on the show, or you know someone that could potentially be a guest, I want you to reach out. Send a DM or a message. If you come into the shop, find Omar. He's the guy with the hat, and you find a phone number. I dare you. No, don't call anybody. But before we go, this is a comic book shop, and of course, you need to recommend something. And I know Omar is like the epitome of comic book salesmanery. Omar, you got something over there?
Yeah.
This guy.
There's always something to see.
He's got something to recommend. I know that he likes. He has sold me multiple comic books because of the things that he likes. So what do you got? What do you got for us today?
So today, just because this has been a hot topic for the shop for the last week, is Group of Seven from Group of Seven Comics. This is actually really cool. So it's about a kind of like a strike team made up of famous Canadians during World War I on a secret mission. And Group of Seven ties into not just a group of artists, but the team of seven there. What I love about Group of Seven comics and what they're doing is that this is also a good gateway comic for people who aren't into comic books, or I don't know where to start, or that's not necessarily for me. As someone who I didn't grow up in Canada. I don't know everything about Canadian history. It was cool to see the characters, kind of dive into them, not just read the dossiers in the back, but kind of get a history for who they were. And yeah, it's kind of like Fury's Howling Commandos, but the Canadian version.
Nice.
During World War I. So there's a lot to like in here, and like I said, more than that, for people who aren't into comics, it reads like a history book a little bit, a little bit of historical fiction. So there's something for everybody in here, and they've done a great job making an engaging story and getting you to dive deeper in not just into the characters, but the time period and what was going on. So there's a lot of context there, and it's really well executed, and the artwork's great, and the writing's fantastic. And it continues in a series called Peregrines directly from this.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Omar. Really appreciate it. And after the comic book recommendation, after Omar recommends a comic book, you know what we're going to say? We're going to say, I'll catch you by the wayside.
Oh, before we go, though.
Oh, before we go, hold on, this guy here.
I say Group of Seven Comics, but Chris Sanigan and Jason Lapidus are the creators behind Group of Seven Comics, two very, very talented people.
There you go. Okay, he did it. Okay, catch you by the wayside. See you in the next episode.
Catch you by the wayside. I'm not copying.